Oh, well. Hi, everyone. I am not a Bitcoin maximalist. And I'm dressed like a Bitcoin maximalist, and I really like Bitcoin, but I'm not a maximalist. Okay. Now you guys can figure out whether I'm serious or not. All right, so my topic today is near yet so far DeFi for Korea. 참고로 저 한국어 하는데 오늘 한국어를 안 할 테니까 양해를 부탁드리고요. So everybody in the audience who doesn't speak Korean, I just said how handsome you guys are. So yes, I'm just gonna talk about DeFi as it pertains to Korea and just some of the things that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Yeah, so let's get right into it. All right, need to change the slides. All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. So this is your typical day on crypto Twitter, right? Oh my God, DeFi's gonna take over the world and disrupt finance. Fire. Yeah. Okay. All right, 알겠습니다. 죄송합니다. Yeah, so this is typical day on crypto Twitter. And everybody, okay, can you go to the next slide? Thank you. All right. And then everybody says that the value proposition of DeFi are like these 5 things, which is accessibility, meaning, okay, if you have internet and some crypto, you can use these things. Frictionlessness, which means other financial service providers usually, they have to jump through a lot of regulatory hoops, but we don't have to do that. It's global from day one because it's crypto, duh. It's customizable. We got a lot of financial primitives, so we could make anything that we ever imagined. Yeah. And then finally, that especially on Ethereum, that although it's it's not Web3, but it's like decentralized finance, so scalability limitations are not that big of a deal, and it poses a brand new investment opportunity. And then you'll have something like this, right? And they'll say like, oh yes, fintech is all about bureaucracy. And DeFi is trust minimized software with minimal bureaucracy. And like open source and open finance and DeFi go hand in hand, and there are all these things. But today I kind of want to talk about where some of this applies in Korea and where some of this absolutely does not apply in Korea. Okay, next. Yeah, so one thing you have to understand about Korea is that Koreans are extremely, extremely, extremely spoiled when it comes to financial services. I'm really glad to be Korean. I'm really glad that I won the geographic lottery and that I'm allowed access to these tools. But okay, so during 2017 crypto craze, I visited an exchange and they were like, I took another project to introduce them. And they were very proud of the fact that, hey, Korea is the only country in the world where someone can sign up to a crypto exchange from scratch and start trading in under 10 minutes. Okay, so that's how it was in 2017. I still don't know any service that'll allow you to do that, an exchange, especially. Now it's a lot tighter. The regulations are a lot tighter, so we don't have access to that, but that's how it used to be. Second one is instant wire transfers. So yeah, I lived in 5 countries, including Korea, and then those countries did not offer instant wire transfers for most of the time I was there. And then so you have like, in 2011 or so, Korea was actually criticized for the fintech part of Korea not being as strong, but Koreans are all about that 빨리, like just doing things fast. So then we caught up, Kakao Pay, Toss, etc. And then, I think definitely like in terms of like convenience and fintech, China's leading the way with WePay and Alipay, and with surveillance capitalism. And so we jumped right on board and we decided to make all these things. Now, with instant wire transfers, now you're also able to invest into financial products, but we'll talk more about what kind of financial products these things are. And then Korea is also very interesting in that we had these horrible but wonderfully secure things called like digital signature certificates, 공인인증서, and one-time passwords. So everybody kind of like knows this. Everyone knows that it's very uncomfortable, but we use it nonetheless. But it was pretty secure. All right. So Joseon. All right, this is what a lot of Koreans say. So there's Korean people that hate Korea, obviously, right? And so they want to move to another country. They're like, oh, Joseon. Joseon used to be our dynasty. And so they just move out of Joseon or Korea. And so usually when people say this, we tend to think like, wow, everything in Korea must be really, really bad. And so Koreans must really hate the country, right? And like it sounds like Argentina, so it sounds like everybody's gonna love decentralization. Okay, no, not really. So if you look at it here, this is like the percentage of people that are kind of like dissatisfied, right? And Korea is actually the highest this year for highest ever trust inequality between people who are informed and people who are the mass population, right? So South Korea is kind of like on the healthier end actually for the mass population. They're kind of happy, but then we're on the like kind of unhappy for the informed public, meaning like the smart, I guess it means that, oh, sorry. So distrust is 1 to 49, so which means if you are the mass population, you tend to distrust the country. If you're more informed, you tend to trust the country. Really not bad. We're not at extremes like, say, China. I don't think that 76 and 88 make any sense, and then some like country like Russia, right? So Koreans don't hate their country necessarily. So it's hard to talk about the cypherpunk ethos, like crypto anarchist, cypherpunk. That's not gonna work. Next, so this was a poll done by Blockchain Capital, and they're talking about Bitcoin as a demographic megatrend, and everybody knows about Bitcoin more than before. Yeah, I agree 100%. But it's not quite the demographic you think it is in Korea. So this shows you that, at least in the States, right, from 18 to 34, people are really into Bitcoin, and this is like the majority of the population that you need to target for. Okay, so we all started this using a YouTube channel, so this is what our YouTube analytics look like. Oh, sorry. So younger demographics are leading in terms of Bitcoin awareness, yada, yada, yada. But this is our YouTube analytics page. Okay, what's interesting about this page? So first of all, sure, 25 to 34 years lead, but not 10 to 24 years at all. There's a pretty big disparage between who has wealth in our country, and the 18 to 24-year-olds definitely do not have wealth. It's only after you hit like about 30 where you're starting to make money and you're able to save, that's when you start investing. So that's the first thing that you see. And then you also see that like it goes all the way up to like 54 years old. So you're thinking like, okay, wait a minute. So if you add everyone from 35 to 54, that's bigger than people from 25 to 34. And you know that the population is shrinking because of low pregnancy rates and et cetera. So, and on top of that, the people from 35 to 54, those people are probably the people with money. So that's who you need to be targeting. So kind of different landscape than what we're presented in the States. Next up, regulation in Korea. So I just did the parentheses in South because usually people ask me which Korea I'm from. Yeah, so everybody, I think most of you probably understand that in Korea, all exchanges, three kind of exchanges, virtual exchanges with virtual accounts, exchanges with Beehive accounts, and exchanges that are crypto to crypto, right? So far, regulations in South Korea have mostly dealt with regulating exchanges, and then recently there has been the FATF, right, like the new proposal, which is due to take effect. Every exchange has to comply by it like June 2020. Another one is margin trading. So CoinOne is infamous for this, that they offered margin trading and got shut down by the authorities right away. There was regulation in terms of ICO ban and KYC AML. But accepting these regulations, we haven't had a case like Ethnix or someone coming after decentralized exchanges. So those things never ever happened in Korea, which is pretty good news. And it means that the regulation moves a lot slower than it would somewhere else. So then what's the product market fit for DeFi in Korea? Knowing all these things, what kind of decentralized financial products can we build? Okay. So this is what I call, my big topic is investment opportunity arbitrage. All right, South Korea deregulates retail OTC derivatives market. Okay, so what the hell does this mean? So this happened about a month ago. So it's very, very fresh news. So Korean retail brokerage industry, especially when it comes to the derivatives market, because there's such high minimum deposit requirements for retail trades, actually are not that hot. So we had such tight regulations starting from 2011 that speculative traders have all been cast out of the country. They've been speculating in markets that are outside of Korea. And right now, the derivatives markets in Korea, foreigners account for about 50.4% of total derivatives markets. And it's doubled since 2011, while local institutional investors as well as retail continues to shrink. And so when they had this new regulation passed, they didn't explicitly mention crypto trading, but many assumed that the crypto trading thing was just retail got access to very, very advanced, very, very opportunistic, financial tools. So speculators all flocked towards that, and then the government wanted to do consumer protection by unregulating the already overregulated derivatives market. Another thing, Korea has pretty strict capital control. So foreign remittances are $5,000. I can only send $5,000 per transfer and no more than $50,000 a year. If I want to send more than 50K a year, then I need to state why I'm doing it. So back in the days, it was a pain in the ass for me because I was going to school overseas, and always a pain in the ass to be like, hey, so I'm sending this $50,000 a year because I'm sending it to myself. Like, come on, like, are you fucking serious? Doesn't make any sense. All right. Finally, Forex trading, which is like the bigger derivatives margin, et cetera, just more advanced financial tools, are currently only available to finance companies according to Korean law. So you could actually check this Korean law that says retail investors cannot do Forex trading. Pretty good opportunity. So crypto rolled along, right? And we had the Financial Services Commission and the Korean Exchange with their over-regulation. On the one hand, that requires you to deposit a certain amount for you to be an accredited investor. On the other hand, you had BitMEX that asked for your email and let you trade for 100x leverage. Like, no brainer. Why would you do the left one, right? Yeah, so in my opinion, DeFi in Korea is just getting started. We got a couple of these guys, Cordex, Everett, and I put Trinito at the bottom, which is like Upbit's little baby. I made it small on purpose because this is probably the only slide that I'm allowed to do this on. So yeah, we don't have that many DeFi products being built out right now, but BitMEX does have centralization risk, so we kind of want to go away from that to decentralized risk. So DeFi value proposition, when we come back to this, first of all, accessibility, right? Where you say, okay, people need just internet and crypto to access. Doesn't really apply to Korea. Everybody has internet. Accessibility really wasn't an issue to start with. Second is frictionlessness. So this is the regulatory side. So this is something that we could definitely arbitrage off of. Global. The problem in Korea is not that we can't invest in global markets. The problem in Korea is that we don't even have proper access to local markets. So this is like kind of a flipped way of looking at it. So you have to have access to local markets or some sort of market that the local population can relate to. That's either, probably a derivatives market, and then we could start talking about other things. Customizable, obviously, like this is still a plus, but and number 5, I think that the biggest value proposition for Korea and DeFi is investment opportunity. That if you can present a product to the market that gives you unparalleled investment opportunity than what you see around you in terms of retail, then I think people will use it. So closing thoughts. So please capitalize on opportunities to arbitrage investment opportunity in terms of financial products. I think hyper-localization is really important, which is just understanding the rules and regulations of that local market and figuring out what financial products, like there has to be some sort of order that you're deploying these products. You can't say, I'm gonna have InstaDApp, and I love InstaDApp, but you can't say, I'm gonna have InstaDApp, I'm gonna throw everything on there, and then people are just going to use it, just cause. Like, doesn't make sense. It's gonna be different per locale, right? And second of all, I think this is a great opportunity because, like I said, there hasn't been any regulation regarding DeFi. So government moves slow and is very reactive. So I think this is a massive opportunity for educating people on financial literacy and just making sure, like whatever you're investing, you should learn about what you're investing, right? So that's it. Thank you.